Rasheed Wallace had one of the worst reputations in NBA history. He owns the record for most technical fouls and still talks trash in retirement.
Hey, I know, and you know how many times I was right?
How many times?
Oh, a lot.
I know it looks like he just hates all referees from birth, but really, Sheed is misunderstood. What everyone else saw as a hothead was actually a man on a mission to make things right. This video explains how Rasheed Wallace went from a menace to a mentor. Yo, it's Casey, this is AM Hoops. Hit subscribe for 5 videos per week. You will be an entertained NBA fan all week long, I promise. And I know we all love these NBA playoff games, but we also love NBA history, and that is what Feature Fridays are for. And Rasheed Wallace reminds me of one of my favorite movies of all time called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's amazing, it like swept the Oscars that year, and it's about a guy who the world looks at as a bad dude, but really he's misunderstood. They throw him into an insane asylum, but it turns out he's more sane than the people that put him there. He fights for what he believes in, but in the end, it doesn't turn out too good. Well, Rasheed Wallace fought referees his entire career and got a horrible reputation, but it turns out he was right in the end. Now, what he's doing today proves he was never a bad guy after all. Wallace actually only got one technical foul in 4 years of high school, but he quickly learned in the NBA things are different. And I'm not talking about how refs give technical fouls. I'm talking about refs favoring popular teams and players. And look, I am not a NBA conspiracy guy. I'm really not. I don't do too many videos on my channel about that because I don't believe that the frozen envelope got the Knicks Patrick Ewing or that Michael Jordan's baseball was actually a gambling suspension. But I do believe that stars get calls. It's just a fact. LeBron James is a perfect example throughout his career.
And basically treats him like he isn't actually there, runs him over, mauls him, gets the basket, and they count it. No call, no whistle at all.
Refs don't want stars to get ejected, so they don't call every foul. Most players and people just accept it as part of the game, but Rasheed Wallace did not. Dude had minor scuffles his rookie year, but once he became an all-star, he pushed the envelope and didn't get superstar calls himself. What Sheed found out was that refs don't protect all stars, they protect some stars, the biggest ones on the best teams. His first wake-up call was in the 2000 Western Conference Finals against Shaq, Kobe, and the Lakers. Sheed was upset about several calls during the game, and while staring down the ref, he got ejected.
Timeout LA. Whack! Get out!
But he didn't say nothing.
Get away from me, Steve.
All that for staring in a huge game. The Lakers won the series in Game 7. LA had 37 free throws to the Blazers 16. The next year, Wallace's anger at refs was on another level. He got 41 techs in 77 games. For reference, the record in 2021 was Dwight Howard with 18. Sheed got 41. He was fined and suspended multiple times, but in 03, referee Tim Donaghy teed up Sheed for throwing the ball at another ref. Then they got in a huge shouting match, and Wallace was suspended 7 games. At this point, Sheed got a reputation that made it easy for him to get teed up, but at the same time, he saw a double standard and wanted to change things. So Wallace changed his approach as he got a little older and won a ring in 2004. He created the infamous "ball don't lie" phrase that basically says the ball won't go in the basket if the ref blew the call. And instead of battling them on the court, he'd get back at them after the game on the mic. In the 2004 East Finals, he said Shaq and the Heat benefited from, quote, extra help they got out there, that the Pistons had forces against us. In the 2007 East Finals, LeBron James shot 19 free throws in Game 6. After that, Sheed told the media they wanted to put their darling in the NBA Finals. And that, quote, this game isn't basketball anymore, it's entertainment. It's starting to get like WWF. Of course, he's talking about pro wrestling, where the matches are scripted for maximum drama.
It's still real to me, damn it.
And Sheed was actually saying what a lot of fans were thinking. Even now, I see a lot of people complaining on social media about refs. In most cases, it's BS. For example, in this year's West Finals, the Clippers got the out-of-bounds call in Game 2, but not in Game 4 on an identical play. To me, that shows the refs aren't favoring one team. They're just human and they make mistakes. But back in 2007, Rasheed Wallace was actually onto something. Later that year, the FBI found that referee Tim Donaghy helped run a gambling ring on NBA games. He would influence the outcome of games, in part by targeting certain players. In a book, Donaghy named Rasheed Wallace as a player that referees in general could not stand and went into games with a point to prove against him. That was an embarrassing moment for the league, but it didn't stop the problem for Rasheed Wallace. He continued to get fines and suspensions and never stopped calling out star treatment by refs. Eventually, he retired in 2013 with the most texts ever, but his beef paved the way for changes years later. In 2018, ref-player relations were in the spotlight. Things got out of control that year before a historic sit-down between the Players Union and Referees Union. That led to fewer ejections and more refs calmly explaining calls during the game. The NBA started putting out the last 2-minute report in 2015, which improved transparency and held refs more accountable for blowing big calls. Look, things aren't perfect today, but the progress that's been made would not have happened if Rasheed Wallace didn't sacrifice his own bank account and his own blood pressure racking up texts. Throughout his career, teams and coaches swore Sheed was a good dude, in spite of his image. His Blazer teammate Bonzi Wells once said, when he's off the court, Sheed is all about family. His coach Mike Dunleavy said he was a terrific team player, and that is obvious now that Sheed is retired and coaching high school basketball. In his first job at Jordan High School in North Carolina, Sheed said coaching lower income kids is about a lot more than just hoops.
I was fortunate enough, I had older brothers who helped deter me to the gym and stay off of the streets, and that's the same thing I'm going to try to do with them. The streets are going to be there. They were there before you, they were here during your time, and they're going to be here after you. So get in this gym. Get in this gym.
Today, Wallace is head coach at a basketball academy for really talented kids, but he still says it's about developing character before basketball. That is the exact opposite of what Sheed's reputation was in the NBA. But now, people can see he wasn't a problem player. He was ahead of his time dealing with NBA refs. Sheed actually just had principles and wouldn't back down. Now, he's proving that's exactly who he was the entire time.